Okay. All right. Well, so this is not Life is Strange, episode 5 Unpopular Decisions. We'll change that eventually. So we thought that we would kick off January podcasts, one, because we are having technical difficulties getting videos together, but thought it would be a nice time to do a 2016 games recap of all the stuff that we played last year. Um, so I put together a list of like all the major games we played last year, like that actually came out last year. And then I
Mhm.
also had a couple listed that were like other games we played that didn't come out last year.
Mhm.
And then a couple games that I was looking forward to for this year. So, thought we could start off with the 2016 games recap. So this is that just the ones that actually released last year.
Mhm.
And the first one on the list is Oxenfree.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I feel so the first two on the list are actually Oxenfree and Firewatch, and I feel like we got like really spoiled like right out of the gate
Oh yeah, for
by like
sure.
two awesome indie games that had like a lot of lore and like stuff to talk about and make videos about, and then it's like the I looked like looking at the list from the rest of the year. It's like you guys will see it when we go through it. Like,
Super disappointing.
super disappointing. Like, I mean, there was other fun stuff, but like not. I mean, so when we did our 2015 game, and I mean, I don't want to like sound like the people who put out games this year like were bad. You know what I mean? It just like the quantity of like good and enjoyable stuff last year compared to 2015, I don't know, just not the same. And even the
Well,
stuff that
2015 had Life is Strange. It had Fallout 4. It had a whole bunch of like really good games that came out that were really interesting and everything. And
Until
then
Dawn,
Until
like
Dawn, and then 2016, you're like, these are good games, but they're not mentally challenging games. If that makes
no,
sense.
it's not even that. It's just like even sheer quantity. So when I put together I remember when I put together the list of like 2015 games when we did the recap podcast, it
Mm-hmm.
was like I was telling people it was like a good like 16 solid games that we talked about. Like that podcast was like, an hour and a half, 2 hours long because we talked about all of them, right?
Right, right.
This year, when I put together our 2016 games, 12 games, some of them on this list were actually super short or just all out
Yeah,
sucked.
2015 had Soma, it had Her
Yeah.
Story, it had all these like really cool games. And 2016 were like, I
Well,
guess Lady Conan O'Brien's kind of cool. Like,
and that's why 8 of the games that I like put on a separate list were games that didn't come out last year because we had to start playing like other stuff.
mm-hmm.
Like that's why we played Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain and like the Skyrim Romance mod,
Because
which
nothing was out. There was like nothing. I mean, there was stuff out. There was like The Witcher and stuff, I guess. But that's not really our style. So I
yeah.
guess we say there weren't a lot of games that were our style. Because I know that there's tons of people who love games that don't have the
Yeah.
same things that we like.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like nothing came out because there was also like Dark Souls 3, that a lot of people really liked, but it just, not the type of stuff that we played for us. So anyways, Oxenfree. Oxenfree was really good. I just like I remember really liking the art style of that game, and it just like it was we spent a lot of time talking about all the small stuff that was going on. You put out like a good 6 or so videos like about all of the like secrets in that game.
And I didn't even find all of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That was super cool.
There was
So,
still an ARG going as it was happening. You know what game we should play? I think that
what?
would really have us engaged is Frog Fractions and Frog Fractions 2. Because we both don't know anything about it. We just know it's fucking crazy. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
crazy because that makes people feel sad. It's fucking berserk.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I've just heard people talk about it,
I
that
mean,
it's weird.
I've been hearing about it for years, and I just feel like, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I like don't trust people when they talk about games now because like
But Laura
people
said she liked it, and you always believe Laura.
that's not true.
You okay? You have a tendency to listen to women more than men. How about that?
Also not true.
That
But no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no. That is true. I'm sorry.
I don't
That's
listen. I
completely
don't.
true.
I would actually say that I don't tend to listen to anybody.
No, because I remember there was something you didn't want to do, but then you heard Laura say that she liked it, and then you were like, "Okay, I want to play it." And I was like,
We're talking
"Okay."
about Laura K. Buzz for people who don't know.
She's our goddess.
Yeah. Um.
Sometimes we just sit around and talk about how obsessed we are with Laura.
I mean, I don't know though. She likes Heavy Rain. She
Yeah,
also likes the ending of
remember
yeah.
when we talked to her about it and she was like, "You know what? I never saw any of that. You guys are right."
She
Remember?
also likes the ending of Mass Effect 3.
I everybody has their flaws.
Oh. Okay, so I mean, we can think about it. I've just heard that it's weird. That's like really all I've heard. But I
Info
guess
power
what
is
I was
something.
trying to say is that like I don't believe people when even if like a ton of people recommend a game, I am a lot more jaded about it now because we've had people like lots of people recommend games and then actually played them and been like, "Oh, this is not enjoyable." You know what I mean?
Also, want to cover the fact that like I really haven't been working as much as I should because I've been really sad and depressed. And not just because Raphael, my boyfriend of 8 years, cheated on me and I kicked him out of my house, but because I've been like,
Mari?
what? Hello? Stacy?
Mari?
Yeah? What? Can you hear me? But also because I've been doing like treatment for my OCD, which is like behavioral therapy and everything. So that really is, it's hard for me. It's really, really hard. Oh, nobody can hear me? Oh, she disconnected.
Hello?
Hello? Hello, Stacy? Stacy? I can hear you. But yeah, as I was saying, like, I'm gonna get back into streaming, back into making theory videos. It's just been hard for me because I've been doing behavioral therapy for my OCD, and like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's the worst thing ever, and it's horrible, and it makes me really sad. Like, sometimes I just can't even like get out of bed because it's so hard. But and it's just like life sucks. But I don't know. Stacy still can't hear me. We're working on that. We'll just talk about how sad and depressed I am. I just ate ice cream for lunch with a fork with no pants on. So you guys can see where I'm at mentally right now. If you're ever feeling like, man, my life is sad, just think about me eating a quart of ice cream for lunch with no pants on. Hey, Stacy, you're on speaker.
Yeah, why don't you pick up the phone?
Oh, because it wasn't ringing. Sorry, my bad. Hold on.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Here we go. Podcast time.
I'm using a different computer because for some reason the sound out of my big computer isn't working anymore.
I'll try and fix that for you.
Yeah. It's just like the sound altogether just like stopped working. It's weird.
Oh, thank you for subscribing, Cassandra, even though I've been doing a terrible job of being a good person. Everyone's
Oh,
happy to see you again. All right.
yay. God, stupid thing. I checked everything. I don't know what it is. It's just like the sound is not working.
It'll be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Just stop caring about everything and eat ice cream in the middle of the day with no pants on.
Well, I am a
for the
little
fourth.
bit mad though because like if I want to play games now, this means I have no sound.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Oxenfree. That was fun.
Oxenfree was a good game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was followed up like right after that with Firewatch, which was also a really good game. Oh, and you know what else was like really cool about those games that reminded me of like some of like the 2015 stuff we played is it had like a following, like a fan base around it, you know? Like I feel like when games inspire a lot of fan art, then it's like a good sign, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That usually to me like signifies that
It has a
not just
strong following.
yeah, that like people are like really interested in it and invested in it like enough to like draw stuff and make stuff about it. Um and then you know what's next on my list after that?
What?
Fragments of Him.
Uh, as being a good game or just an interesting
No, that's
game?
just the next game that we played that came out in
Okay.
2016.
It deserves no recognition. I'm sorry. It was
No.
so bad.
No. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like in between those two games, we played like four other releases that were not from 2016. We played Stasis and The Park and Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain. You know what I mean? And then it's like the next thing that we really did was, like I feel like that's just kind of indicative of how the year was.
Yeah. I
So,
just wasn't a good year,
no.
honestly.
But so Fragments of Him
Even
for
in
those
indie games wasn't a good year.
and I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that we didn't find, but just, do you remember there was also wow, what was that stupid game, the one that we were like, "Oh my God, this is stupid and it's the worst." And then like halfway through we were like, "Actually, no, this is the best thing ever." What was that?
Wait. It sounds familiar now. I don't
With
remember.
Davey and Coda.
Coda.
It's the guy where he makes a bunch of games and he like leads you through this other person's
Oh
game.
yeah. Oh no, that came out in 2015. The Beginner's Guide
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like that's an example
of really good,
of a
real
really
good.
yeah, that like really cracked like the public interest, I guess, in indie games, whereas like
I think we
less
should play Frog Fractions and Frog Fractions 2. At least it'll have something to chew on.
okay, noted. Um
Everyone, please send Stacy requests and demands and death threats to play Frog Fractions and Frog Fractions 2.
Yes, people are pointing out it's the beginner's guide.
Yes, I do like it weird in bed like Iron Bull, Caleb Love Life.
Yeah.
The Turing test. Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was a
I'm
good one.
going through them in order
No,
so
I'm
that
just talking to the chat. Sorry,
oh, okay.
the
So
chat
then
brought it up.
after that, there were actually a couple games that like I had kind of forgotten about, but which were really fun. There was Call of the Starseed. Do you remember that for VR?
Oh yeah, a bunch of cool VR games came out.
I mean,
Yeah,
they were pretty. Most of them were just I would call like experiences. Like there was like the lab and like La Paris.
a chair in a room was
Yes,
yeah,
and I had that on my list. But it's like also like those are like VR games. Those aren't games that like
are easily accessible.
are yeah, and had like a wider following in the same way that like a lot of so it's like if you take like those two VR games, Call of the Starseed and Chair in a Room off this list, the list is only like 10 games.
But you
Like
know what? I really feel like a chair in a room, like it really brings scariness to a whole new level for things that weren't even. That's like I don't know how to explain VR, but like when that thing was coming at me in the hallway, I was like, "This is real. This is a real thing that's happening, and I'm so scared. Like I can't get away."
I will never forget the moment where there's two things. One, the moment where that thing popped up behind you.
Yeah.
and you like almost peed yourself. Um,
Because it's like it's really happening. It's not
yeah,
like in a video game where you're sitting at a screen and you're like, ah, and you like turn away. Like
yeah,
I turned around, it was for real there, for real in real life.
yeah.
Like, like it
And
was so
then
scary.
and then the other moment was like when I was playing and I went over to look at something on a table and I went to put my arms on the back of the chair to lean over it
And you fell
because
forward.
and I fell forward because like my brain was like this is a real chair and like that's what I would do to a real chair, you know?
Exactly. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
I'm trying not
it's
to use
really
the word
weird.
crazy, but it's so out of this world. And like the Into the Blue shit, oh my god.
Mhm.
If it wasn't such a pain to set up, I would do it all the time. I should clean the house today and do it today just for relaxation reasons.
Yeah, and I mean playing with all the jellyfish was like really fun.
And just being there, like under the ocean and just like experiencing something that was like somewhat realistic and like it was just so cool.
So it is really cool. The one thing I would say about VR for me though is that like I don't think I would enjoy it as much by myself
Yeah.
because for me like I don't know, maybe it's just because normally it's like I when I'm like even when I'm playing games by myself, I either like to play with another person or I have Twitter open next to me and or I'm like, you know, looking at social media and like you can't really do that in VR. So the only way that you get to do it is if like some other person is there with you.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, um, next on the list is Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which
It was okay.
it was yeah, like it was okay. I know a couple it like if you like that type of game, my one big I think disagreement with it was how sometimes it forces you to fight, like you can't go 100% pacifist.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I
It was
thought that was like
annoying.
a I thought that was a real missed opportunity because in the first one you can go 100% pacifist, you know.
Hmm.
Dreamfall chapters conclusion, which I don't know, like it was so cool to like finally get the game to be finished, but it's like
It was
I
so
wished it
boring. I don't know how they did it. It's like they did a bunch of cool shit, and
and
you're
made it
like,
boring.
yeah,
You know, and it's like I want there to be more of a following for that game because it like it is really cool, but at the same time it's like, man, they just like some of the dialogue in that game was so long and you're literally just standing there watching a person talk at you.
I'm gonna be real. There were times where I just closed my eyes,
Yeah.
waiting.
There were parts of it that I like wasn't following at all because I just like I couldn't pay attention to it.
The way it wasn't even so much what they were saying; it was the way it was delivered.
Yeah. I really feel like there was just some parts of it that were just like they were very wordy, you know? I mean, there were even parts of this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but even when we played Dragon Age Inquisition, there were parts of that that were a little bit wordy for me. But
I like
Dreamfall,
wordiness, but it has to be presented in a way that like is good and not
well,
bad.
and the difference with Dragon Age Inquisition is that it's characters that you generally care more about. And like a world that you know more about, so you're more interested in all the little intricate details, you know? So like you're willing to deal with it, whereas with Dreamfall chapters, it's like you don't care as
Mm,
much. Next up was Inside, which
that
I
was a good
love.
one. That was
I
a good
loved
one.
that game.
I
Yeah.
really liked Inside. I'm sure there was a lot to say about it. A lot of there was a lot of like those little details and the way that the not characters, little just like all the stuff that existed in the world,
Yeah, all
the
the stuff.
animations, the characters, the way things moved. It was all just really well done in this way that came together in this very well melded scenario.
I think that what I liked about it was that it managed to build such a world that felt so well developed to me with no words and no words at all.
Mm-hmm.
No dialogue, no reading, and yet I never felt at a loss of like things to say about it, and that's
Yeah,
hard, you know?
because you're trying to figure out what is going on, and they tell the whole story just visually, and
Yeah,
that is very impressive.
yeah. It just, and I mean, I know some people felt at times that the mechanics were repetitive, but I actually didn't feel that way at all. I felt like things, like the mechanics, like continued to evolve, and even where things did get reused a couple times, it didn't feel
Too much.
overwhelmingly, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty short game. It's like 5 to 6 hours, so. Hey, somebody just said that our playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition gave them inspiration for their essay in college.
That's cool.
That is so cool. What
Did
was
you
the
get
essay
a Did you
about?
get a good grade though?
I don't know how we could inspire good grades. Next game on this list, I don't want to spend too much time on because we've already like ragged on it enough, but No Man's Sky.
Oh my god.
I know.
It's like somebody that you hate so much that you don't even want to waste time hating
I know. So we're just going to
them.
move on because I really like the next game on the list, which is the Turing test.
Yeah, the Turing test was great, and I'm so sad that people didn't give that more attention.
Oh my God. I know. I got a
Because
couple of my friends to buy it because I was like, it's so good. You have to play it.
and no, and then like people were like, "Oh, it's just a ripoff of Portal." I'm like, first of all, if Portal is a genre-defining thing, then it's fine, and you can rip something off and still do a good job, you
Yeah.
know. And it wasn't really so much as a ripoff because I felt like it dove deeper into the themes of Portal, anyway, and like really, really like made you have a lot of moral questions.
Yeah. I mean, the questions about artificial intelligence and like immortality and what is our responsibility as human beings and like oh my God, there was so much good stuff
Stuff.
in there, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like we got to talk about, so I really like it when we do a let's play. This is like probably my favorite thing is when a game brings up questions and doesn't necessarily answer them for you, but that we get to talk about on the let's play.
Well,
And
the thing is, it's like it's a moral dilemma, so there's no way that the developers can tell you what the answer is. They can just ask
exactly.
you the question.
Yeah. But I'm saying like some games they just tell you a story and you get to talk about the story, but other games they're like here's a story, but what the story brings up is questions for you around these things and then like in the let's doing a let's play like we get to talk about that. Like that makes it so much more full feeling to me. It's like hey, somebody is saying that they bought the Turing test and didn't play it because they wanted to watch our Let's Play but also wanted to support the developers.
That's nice. That's a very nice thing to do.
That is very nice. Um, and then I only have two other games on the list that came out in 2016. And those were Lady Killer in a Bind, which I think you like more than I do.
I understand why. Or I
Yeah.
think I want to like it more than you do. That's what it is. I think I want to like it, so then I'm like, no, it's fine.
Yeah. So, it's weird because it's so I heard Laura talking about it and she probably summed up my thoughts on it in a very succinct way. So I'm just going to like repeat what she said, but she said that it's strange because it's a game about consent that doesn't have a conversation around the consent when misleading people in sexual relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they do all
Which
this thing where it's like, are you sure you want to do this? Sure you want to do this? But they're not telling, and it's not about telling somebody if they're trans. This is about them being a cis
you're literally
woman.
pretending you're another person.
Yeah, you're
It
pretending you're a
gender that has
different
nothing to do
person.
with it. You're pretending you're a
Exactly.
different
Exactly.
person.
She's a
Yeah.
cis woman pretending to be a cis man. It's not like, and pretending to be a different person has, yeah, you're right. It has nothing to do with like actual genitals. You're like lying to them.
Yeah, even if they're like the same gender and everything, you're still pretending to be a different person. That's not cool.
Yeah, pretending to be your twin, even if you were the same gender as your twin, is like not okay.
Yeah.
It's rapey.
So yeah, it is. And I think and it's too bad because like there's parts of it that like I really liked, but I just had like a super hard time getting past the like feeling of like this feels wrong, like this feels wrong. This feels
Yeah.
like I'm taking advantage of somebody, which is weird because the game gives you all these signals of like check in with this person and see if it's okay and that part I really like because I like that it gives you a lot of like gives the characters a lot of agency over what they're doing as opposed to I'm doing this to you and you're just gonna like you
Sometimes I
know
felt like we didn't have agency over what happened to us. Not in terms of
mm,
like, oh, someone being mad at us, but like, remember when that one girl kissed us and I didn't want to do it?
yes, yeah, yeah, I remember that because we like somehow gave out a signal that because we weren't an asshole basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I get really frustrated when games do that when they're like, "Oh, you don't want to be a total ass? Well, guess you're giving out mixed signals." Because you know what that feels like? That feels like what happens to us, like what happens to women all the time. Like, "Oh, you're not willing to be a total asshole? You want to like be nice? Well, this person's going to take it the wrong way and they're going to take advantage of you."
Yep. Yep.
That's just my feeling on that, you know? Um And then final game on this list that came out in 2016, Final Fantasy 15, which is like such a feel-good game.
It just feels good. It just
It just
feels
feels
good.
good.
It's like
Dude,
mac and cheese. There's not a lot to it, but it feels good.
you know what? I feel like so if people are listening to this and they like that game, I would highly recommend going and finding some of like the Final Fantasy 15 blogs on Tumblr because they post like so many cute like moments from the game and I don't know, it's heightened my enjoyment of it a lot, you know. Um, and then some other games that I wanted to talk about, like that we played this past year, because even though they didn't come out in 2016, I still felt like we should talk about them. Were Stasis, which I
That was
really
still a
liked.
great game to play. Oh man.
I know, I liked that game a lot. That was another game where it like brought up a lot of questions, like and not as many people gave it a chance, I feel like.
I felt like it fell apart at the end, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, like the end of it was a little didn't and it's not even like it just didn't do as like it wasn't as like spectacular as it could have been. Like it was still like an okay ending, I felt like. Do you know
Yes,
what I
I
mean?
agree, but it felt a little cliche. Like the whole game was like really fucked up, crazy, and then at the end it was just, oh, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that's just fine, I guess.
Mhm. But one thing that if people are listening to this and they're thinking that they don't want to play it or watch it then, I would still recommend it because I think that the bulk of the game is good enough to make up for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely, for sure. But it's definitely a game you need to read everything. You need to
Yes.
really understand because, like, I remember there's this one thing where we read something and then we didn't know what it was talking about until we went into the next room and saw it. And because we read it and
We knew,
understood what we were
yeah.
looking at, that's what it makes us so scared. Like, because I would love that they always put these entries in before you saw the big giant bug monster, before you saw the pool made out of human body parts before you
Yes.
saw Samantha. That is what made it gross because it gave you this connection to it and this image in your mind and then like these interpretations and then making you see it is what made it
Yeah,
really.
because otherwise you wouldn't know exactly what a lot of those things are.
Yeah, you just be, oh, a giant bug. Oh, a big vat of like something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Also, do you remember the park?
Yeah, I like the park. I like the. I know that some mothers who were watching disagreed with how we felt, and that, like that's totally fine. I just personally have a lot of anxiety about pregnancy and having a baby and stuff, which some people have that and some people don't, which is totally normal. But I really felt like it really validated that women struggle, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay. Don't kill your child, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just felt like it
Um,
was a very I wouldn't say feminine because I don't want to say that motherhood is feminine, but a very like a fear that a lot of women have, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Instead of it being like, you know how a lot of horror stories revolve around a male fear, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I like that this was centered around a fear that many women might have.
Yeah.
Stereotypically, socially speaking, not in terms of like all the nuances of gender and stuff. Trying to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, uh, it's interesting because it's weird because it's like while I respected like that it was willing to bring up that topic, I am not sure if I felt like it was executed that well, you
I
know?
felt like it was executed pretty well, but
Well,
whatever.
yeah, but I feel like I'm not like disagreeing with you. I think that you definitely have a right to your own opinion on that one. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna like get out there and fight you about it. Because I think that it definitely is free to be interpreted differently by different people. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think if there's any game that we played last year where I feel like, hey, if somebody has a completely different agreement on that, feeling on that than I do, then they can just have it. So, we also played Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain.
Yeah, those. Yeah, it that was playing those games made me question my taste in games because I liked Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah, and I wonder if we were to play that again, would we still enjoy it? You
I
know?
think we would. Maybe it was because, like, in Beyond Two Souls, we never saw, because of our choices, we never saw her get sexually assaulted, and we never saw her have sex with the older guy.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely, well,
that might
yeah,
have affected
because
our interpretation of Beyond Two Souls a lot, because if we had successfully escaped from the facility, we would have gotten sexually assaulted. And I think that would put a really bad taste in our mouth for the whole game. But that didn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah, I agree.
So really, I think, and then Laura, she said that she never saw any of the really bad rapey stuff that we saw in Heavy Rain. So I really think that David Cage, can you like just not put the rape in there, and maybe more people would like your games.
You know, I was talking with a couple friends of mine the other day about how rape in general but especially for women gets used a lot as like almost like narrative shorthand for like trauma or strength if they overcome it, that type of thing. It's like instead of writing some other more complex issue, not that rape is not complex, but do you know
I
what I
mean,
mean? They
yeah,
use
rape
it
is
they
something that happens to 1 in 4 women, and I think 1 in 5 men. It's definitely something that happens. It's just like I don't know if people like sometimes it can be covered really well. Other times it's just something that happens in a story and you're like, but why? What? And you're just like, why? And then everyone's just over it, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone has different opinions on it.
I'm gonna be
So,
honest though, I really enjoyed doing those Let's Plays
yep, no,
because they
that
were
that was
funny as
great.
shit.
Yeah, no, sometimes. Oh my god, it was just like watching a horrible movie.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, especially Heavy Rain. That was like, oh, that was so funny. And
Yeah,
it's
people
like,
like really are defensive for Heavy Rain, and I'm just saying, sitting there thinking, dude. And then we changed a lot of people's minds because we pointed out a lot of stuff, and they're like, wait a second, no, this movie's
oh
bad. Oh
no. Yeah. It makes me like really want to play Detroit Become Human. And honestly, people keep asking, like, do you think it'll be good? Do you think it'll be good? And I'm like, I don't care if it's good or bad, to be honest. If
no!
it's
Either way, it's
good,
gonna be great.
yeah, either way, I'm going to enjoy it a lot because either it's going to be good and I'll enjoy it for being good, or it's going to be a train wreck and I will love it probably even more. So, like, I mean, believe me, David Cage has that unique ability to create something that is like such a disaster that it is really fun to watch, you
It's kind of
know?
like when we watched Fateful Findings and nothing made sense. And
Yes,
you were like,
yes.
wait, why is everybody naked?
And there's like, and yeah, if you guys have not watched Fateful Findings, we have a riff track for it that you can find on our SoundCloud. Oh my
Oh
God.
my god, Fateful Findings is the indigo prophecy of movies.
Yeah, it really is. It's just so bad.
It doesn't it feels it's the type of bad where you feel like something your brain is trying to like
Figure
make
out what's happening.
but nothing's happening, but at the same time all these it's it's like if movies were made into a drug that you didn't like. But you
It's,
can't.
man, it's just like, where does it, yeah.
Because he
Um,
tried, but he didn't try, or it makes who knows.
it's just like, it's like beyond comprehension.
You
You
almost think
have
he's
to,
a genius.
you have to see it. It's like, there's no describing just how bad it gets, you know?
You can't even describe the plot because you try and then your eyes start bleeding because
Yeah.
it doesn't. Because it's something's supposed to be happening and you know it is. It's kind of like when you watch like a David Lynch film and you're like, is this bad or am I stupid? But David Lynch is actually good. So if like somebody was like David Lynch but was really bad David Lynch, that's
Hmm.
what it is. You don't think David Cage is involved with Detroit? Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is.
For sure. I
I'm
don't even
pretty
want to
sure
play
he
it if
wrote
he doesn't directed it.
I'm pretty sure he wrote the script for it.
Yeah, you totally did all of it. No, because I remember Laura was talking about it at a con, and he came up behind her and said, "Oh, Detroit Beyond Human. What do you think of it?" And she was like,
Ah! Yeah, so I think he isn't as involved, maybe, but he wrote the script for the game.
God, no, I need him to be so involved. I,
He was in pre-production, blah blah blah. Sorry. What else did we play? So a couple other games that we played last year that I just wanted to like quickly mention. Played the Skyrim Romance mod,
oh
which
yeah,
is
that was good. That was good stuff.
that was good. We
Good
also played,
creepy stuff.
yeah, we also played Outlast,
Yeah, that
which
was.
was enjoyable.
We gotta play Whistleblower, which trigger warning has really fucked up stuff in it, so don't watch it if you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played Lucius, which
That
was
was a
fun.
fun game. That was a good one. That was a good
Yeah.
one.
And then we played, of course, coming out on top.
Yeah, that's always going to be a gold mine.
Now, that means on this 2016 games, I wrote, and this doesn't count, of course, any of like the smaller, like quick looks that we played because we don't really count those. So that's 12 games that came out in 2016. Just keep in mind, one of those was No Man's Sky, so it like shouldn't even count because we only did like 6 videos for it or whatever.
It hated it so much.
And then 8 games were like 8 full Let's Plays for games that didn't come out last year. So,
Yeah, it wasn't a great year.
no, it was not. But a couple games that we're looking forward to. Uh, I don't think Detroit Become Human has like a release date, but I am looking forward to it
Well,
whenever that
people
comes out.
are calling back to when I was streaming the romance mod and a penis appeared on screen. And also, one of the Twitch staff came and
Oh yeah.
as I was reading my Dragon Age erotic fan fiction and was like, who wrote this? This is really good. By the way, you can't stream sex. And I was like, thanks. Also, bye.
Yeah. This too spicy for Twitch.
I know, it was a spicy stream. It was very spicy. Extra Tabasco. Wasn't even sriracha. Just went straight for California Reapers.
What other games are you looking forward to?
Let's see. So,
Horizon Zero Dawn?
Mass Effect Andromeda, Detroit Become Human. I'm sure, and I'm
Her-
sure there's gonna be some really. I just want an indie game that's just like I'm weird, but in a good way. Like I got weird stuff. That's why I want to play Frog Fractions.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really heard anybody talk about it aside from
I've heard a
Lara and
lot of
everyone on.
I've heard a lot of people talk about it over the years on different gaming
Oh, I
podcasts
mean
and
like
stuff.
over the years, yes, but I'm talking about like the new one.
Oh, that's because they just discovered it, so it's
Yeah.
gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute for the big YouTubers to get it. Also, the
Um,
premise of the game that it's hidden inside of, I'm like, I just want to play that game. Like that sounds cool.
it's like Glitter Mittens or something.
Yeah, you play as like it's like a survival fairyland thing. It sounds cool.
Mm-hmm. So, Horizon Zero Dawn, Mass Effect Andromeda, those have release dates that are coming out in like a couple months. So if we can just make it a couple months,
We'll be okay. Everything's gonna
yeah,
be fine. Mass Effect's gonna be our saving grace.
I know.
Mari Wiki will be here to tell you really strange facts that she knows about Mass Effect, where David or Patrick Weeks is uncomfortable.
Hmm. Um, I'm just looking forward to seeing all the stuff that they put in it. It's like I've tried to avoid watching like any trailers or like they've put out like gameplay videos. I never
No,
watch any of
I don't
them.
want to see it. I don't want to see it. I just wanted. Here's the only thing I want to know: who can I fuck? And the answer better be everyone.
Oh, you're not okay with having just queer characters, like
No,
written
everyone
queer?
has to be everyone.
Huh.
Everyone has to be everything.
I think I disagree with you on that.
The only reason I say that is not because of like representation or anything like that, but just because I want to have my options to fuck everyone. It's a completely selfish and non-progressive way to
Yeah,
live.
but then you wouldn't have characters like Dorian.
Oh, that's true. Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm
New
gonna
rule.
come rain
No
on
one
your
is allowed to be
parade.
straight. Nobody is allowed to be straight. How about that? Everyone can be hetero flexible at least. How about that?
What?
Hetero flexible at least.
What do you mean by that?
Hetero flexible is a title on OkCupid for people who mostly identify as hetero but are willing to, like, for the whatever. That's just the title that I've been seeing on OkCupid. Hetero flexible, where they're like, I
Huh.
feel like I'm mostly straight, but my I don't have this on my
But like,
profile.
do
Their
people
title
just
for themselves is hetero flexible,
is
where
it
they,
kind of just one of those like maybe for the right person type of things?
yeah, maybe for the right person, or they're like a swinger, so if like their dick crosses another dick, they're like whatever,
Yeah.
like, or maybe they're like a 1 out of 10 bi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everyone has to be hetero flexible at least. That's my
Yeah.
unreasonable rule.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And it's weird because like I in my own experience, I find that I I don't know. Even
I
when
just
you
want to be able to have sex with Turians, and then maybe a Hanar and a Krogan. I want to have the option to bang every race I see.
Mhm.
Not like every person, but at least one person from each race.
Something tells me that's not going to happen for
Why
you, but
not? I reach
I
for the stars and I
if
fall
they
on the
hey,
moon.
if they put a Hanar in there, that would be very interesting, but I don't think they will.
They know that people want it. Listen, Stacey, I'm gonna reach for the stars and land on the moon. Okay?
Mhm.
If you reach for the moon, you fall off in space and die.
I'm not reaching for anything. Remember, I set my expectations in the basement. That way I'm always
Then you'll
surprised
go
and
to
delighted.
then you'll end up in hell, which is pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, it's not too bad, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you're talking to the person who's always like, everything's gonna be shit. So when it's not shit, I'm like, oh, this is great. Uh, oh, people are bringing up romanceable Krogans.
Romanceable Krogans! I want it! I want the romanceable Krogan.
Yeah.
I wonder
So,
if the Krogan who go on the Mass Effect Andromeda thing will be infected with the genophage.
I don't know.
Because it's supposed to be like a Noah's Ark or whatever into the new galaxy. So I'm wondering, like, the Krogan who were sent on that mission, like, would they be genophaged? But then at the same time, I guess they wouldn't want them to have 1,000 babies at once.
No, probably not.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
they
know.
are going.
I'm interested to see like how they tackle some of that stuff, like continuity wise, you know?
For sure, for sure. Like, will Quarians have to wear suits since everybody's going into a new galaxy, so germs are going to be a problem no matter what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if they'll make it so Quarians don't have to wear suits. Like, they can take their mask off or something.
Oh, that way they can just make them look like humans with like a shiny thing on their face?
Yep, for sure. But you know what I mean, where if you romance a Quarian, maybe they can actually take their mask off, or we can sync our biosuits or something.
Yeah, maybe you can just like go into like some sort of special like quarantine place, like, so they can take their suits off.
I think it's interesting that Quarians are actually physically more tough than a lot of species. It's just that their immune system is different. That sucks.
Mm-hmm. So you could be like the toughest Quarian on your own planet, but then you go into space and you're like, oh no!
And they didn't have their own planet for a long time.
I know. So, well, if that's all you wanted to talk about today, was there any other stuff?
Any questions, everybody?
Hmm. While we're waiting for them to come up with a couple questions, I just wanted to I read like so we haven't done Audible links in like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to throw it out there in case anybody was interested. Um, I listen to audiobooks on Audible. I've listened to like a bunch since the last time we mentioned any. So two of the ones that I wanted to mention were Red Shirts by John Scalzi and Origins, 14 Years of Cosmic Evolution by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Red Shirts is basically like a book about the red shirts from in a science fiction world, like the people who aren't the main characters, and like it's a story about them and like what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty funny. Like if you like Star Trek and you're familiar with like the whole concept of red shirts and what goes on, the unnamed ensigns that like seem to die every episode, I think that you'll really like it. Origins is kind of like if you really enjoy science podcasts and you want to just learn about like the whole history of the universe, and astrophysics. It's pretty interesting. There were some parts of it that went over my head, but that's really just because I never studied physics or anything. I'm sure that if you're smart, you will get it. And if you wanted to check out either of those for free, you can visit our link, which is audibletrial.com/geekremix. And so you get a free book and a 30-day trial. And if you want to check out more book recommendations from me, I have a Goodreads profile, which is goodreads.com/geekremixalot.
Some people are asking, do I have my VR headset? Yes, and Stacy you have the PSVR, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't get it for Christmas?
No.
Okay.
I didn't really want it for Christmas though, so.
What games are we most looking forward to this year, and what games should we expect to be seeing from us this year? Oh, I think we just already talked about that, though. So, Mass Effect Andromeda, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I was looking at the release date schedule for ones that are already scheduled for like the next couple months. Those are really the two big ones, I think, that are coming out immediately. As always, like, the indie game scene is like a little bit tougher to plan what you're going to play, because it's like you might not hear about any of them, and then all of a sudden like you start hearing buzz around one game, and so you're like, oh, we're going to play it now, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yep. I think that's pretty much it. Were there any other questions you wanted to answer?
No.
Oh, Horizon is the one with the robot dinosaurs, for anybody asking. That's the one with like it's like there's some sort of catastrophic event and the world goes back to like Neanderthal times, but with some elements of technology, essentially. So, well, thank you for stopping by, everybody. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. God, what a nightmare this technology stuff is, huh?
Yes, pretty much.
So, if you guys wanted to follow either of us on social media, we're both on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter. Mari is Geek Remix, and I am Geek Remix a lot. And I think we're good.
Okay. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right.